Mufaro's Beautiful Daughters, an African folktale by John Steptoe, told by Miss Moore. Mufaro had two beautiful daughters. Manyara was jealous of her sister, Nyasha, and she only behaved when Mufaro was around. When their father was out of the picture, Manyara would always say nasty things to her sister Nyasha. She would always tell Nyasha how she was going to be queen, and that her sister would only be a humble servant in the queen's castle. Nyasha was kind and empathetic, and always so passive when it came to her sister. She would always say when her sister told her that she would be the servant in her castle, "If it shall come to pass." She would always ask her sister why she would say such mean things, as she was a very strong woman. And her sister would always explain that her kindness was weakness, and everyone would know that once she was queen. Nyasha had a small garden that she would plant sunflowers in and yams in. One day, while tending to her garden, under a yam tree, she found a little gardener snake. Well, she named this gardener snake Nyoka. She knew that this little snake would keep all those bugs out of her garden. Whenever Nyoka was around, she would always sing sweetly to her garden. Well, one day, while everybody was waiting in the village, a messenger came to give great news that the king was looking for a wife, and only the most worthy and the most beautiful shall come to see him. Manyara thought, what a great opportunity to try to throw my sister under the bus. So, what she says to her father is that she would go, but Nyasha should stay because it would kill her to leave the village. Mufaro told his daughter no, and that the king requested the most worthy and the most beautiful. So, both daughters are to go. Well, Manyara wasn't having any of that. She decided to journey her way to the king so she could be the first. Well, Manyara sneaks out to be first to meet the king. Along her journey, she runs into a little boy. "I'm very hungry," this little boy says. "Could you please give me something to eat?" Manyara, of course being nasty and how rude that she already is, says that she has only brought enough food for herself, and simply sends the boy on his way. Next, Manyara runs into an old woman who gives her actually really good advice, but I won't spoil it. She says to Manyara, that when she crosses the paths, when she comes to the two cross that pass that cross, that there will be trees, and that it will seem to be laughing at her, and she must not laugh back. She also warns Manyara of seeing a man with his head on his head, that she must be polite to him and not walk past. Well, the lovely creature that she is, she tells this woman that she's ugly and sends her also on her way, and that she should not give advice to her future queen. Upon the path of the trees, Manyara is walking. And of course, the trees do seem to be laughing at her. She says that she is not scared and will not be scared, and says, "Ha ha ha," to the trees. What that old woman said not to laugh, well, she didn't take that advice at all. As she keeps walking to the city, she notices the man with the hand under his head. She walks past him and says to him that she does not acknowledge anyone that does not acknowledge their future queen. The next morning, Mufaro and the daughter that actually listened, Nyasha, notice that Minyara is missing. She hates to leave the village, but she knows that it's for a good cause. So her and her father make way towards the city to meet the king. On her journey, she encounters that same little boy. Remember, he was hungry? Well, and remember, she owns a garden with yams? Well, and she ends up giving the little boy a yam. He quietly takes the yam and goes about his way. She comes to the path where the trees are no longer laughing, but they do seem to be bowing down to her. She encounters the old woman who simply points her in the direction of the city. For her kindness, Nyasha gives this old woman, sunflower seeds. As Nyasha and Mufaro come upon the city, they see Minyara coming out, screaming at the top of her lungs. Something terrified her. She goes and she begs her sister, please don't go in there. There's a 5-headed snake, and I'm almost certain that it was going to eat me alive. Please, you can't go in there. Well, as her father tries to console her, Nyasha decides to go into the 2 doors leading to the king. But she discovers that it's no 5-headed snake. It's her little friend Nyoka, the snake that she found in her garden with her yams. But lo and behold, the snake transforms into the king. The king also tells Nyasha that he was the little boy in the forest on her journey, and that he was also the old woman. All in all, he asks her to be his bride, and of course she graciously accepts. There's a huge feast and everyone in the village is invited to see her marry her king. Mufaro was the happiest in all of the land because he had 2 beautiful and worthy daughters, Nyasha, a queen, and Minyara, the servant in the queen's household.